What's up, everybody? It's George Carmi from Full Press Coverage Commanders. Let's get it on. What's up, everybody? It's George Carmi from Full Press Coverage Commanders. I'm here with my boy Rio Robinson. How you doing today, bud?
I'm good, man. How you feeling right now, boss?
I'm doing all right, man. You know, it's Thursday, coming up on Friday. Looking forward to the weekend, man. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely. It's been scorching this week, man. OTAs, we was out there about to all have a heat stroke. Keith was about to die.
yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that in a minute. I'm also with my boy Todd. How you doing, man? From Tan Todd Podcast. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Good to be back. I was on vacation last week, so I was away from all the drama. It was a nice little break, but now I'm back. You kind of miss the drama, even though you hate it. You kind of miss it. So, yeah, happy to be here.
We're scorning the Washington famous for sure. Where'd you go, man?
Went on a cruise, the Royal Caribbean cruise. So
nice, man.
So I didn't have any service, so I was away from it all. Heard about it when I got back. Though always something, but yeah. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Happy to have you, man. Also here with my Just for Men representative, Mr. Keith Gray from the Bloom Pretty Podcast. How you doing, sir? What's going on?
Good. How you doing? I hope you can hear me okay. I got to fix my mic in the process. I don't know what's going on, but good. No, I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me on.
Nah, man, I appreciate it. So thank you for being on, Keith. You're definitely a close friend. Nice to talk to you, man. So, guys, we're here today because you all went to OTAs on Tuesday, and I kind of want to hear about it, man. I'm sure the fans want to hear about it too. It sounded like an awesome experience, a very intimate session watching the Commanders practice. We're going to talk about Carson Wentz a little bit later on in the podcast, talk about Jahan Dotson, see what you guys think. But the question, to kind of kick it all off is, dude, it was hot as hell down in Ashburn, right? About 95 degrees is what AccuWeather said. So, let's talk about that first. How did it feel, Rio, walking on the field with that temperature out there, man? How was it?
First of all, it was cool and very nostalgic for this intimate, small group of us, ambassadors, a few season ticket holders, and content creators. It felt really great until, when you weren't in the tent, you were just melting, you were boiling. Some of us had on bibs and full outfits, and I don't know how they survived in it. I was out there in a black dry fit shirt and some shorts with my legs out, and I was still dying, bro. I was sweating the second I got out the car.
I can imagine, man. I can definitely imagine. I want to ask Keith. I don't know if he seems like he's frozen right now, but Keith, you were on that full get it, man, with the whole overalls and the outfit. How'd it feel being out there in that Ashburn heat, bro?
Keith on pause.
I got Keith on pause.
Fix that dial-up internet, Keith.
All right. Todd, what about you, bro? How was it out there?
So, having just got back from vacation, all of my shorts were dirty, and I wasn't going to go out there in basketball shorts, so I had to wear some jeans.
Oh, geez.
And it was 8:30. It was pretty hot, and it wasn't just that it was hot as much as somehow when you're watching a sports practice, the sun will always be facing you. It's never going to be behind you. So it's aside from the heat, it's I also can't see because the sun is in my eyes. So, it was pretty terrible, but that was the only bad thing. That was the only bad thing about it. Everything else was great. And thankfully, we got out of there by 10:30 before it really got hot. So could have been worse.
Cool. There you go. Cool, man. Good stuff. So it sounded like an early morning for you guys. So it's kind of set the scene there. So I guess it was a morning practice. And how much accessibility did you guys have? And how long were the players on the field? Rio, want to start off?
Yeah. So there was a very, very strict, because, we're not credentialed media. There's a very strict, you could record the first 15 minutes. You could record and take pictures of the first 15 minutes of practice, which is pretty much stretching, some individual drills. And then after that, once they start breaking off into groups and doing formations and teamwork, we could not even live tweet it. Not all of us got the memo, people were getting stuff out there, and Joey was sicking all the PR guys on people who's live tweeted. They thought it was me, obviously. Rio, did you live tweet something? It was getting pretty hilarious out there, but we had great access. And then at the end of practice, we got to just stand there and watch all the players and the coaches leave, and we could talk to them as we pleased. And they just came, kicked it with us, talked to us. And it was great, man. It was really cool. We didn't have to hound them. Ron was letting his lunch get soggy in the sun just to talk to every single one of us. It was a great time, man.
That's awesome, man. Keith, you definitely seem to have a good experience as well. I saw you brought the certificate from the fundraisers that you did, which is really meaningful. So congratulations on that. How's your experience, bro?
Yeah, I mean, if we're being completely honest, if someone said, "Hey, would you do it again?" Nah, not because it was a horrible time or anything, but I mean, if we're being completely honest, it was like the underwear Olympics, man. These guys were just out there doing some drills. Then they were, they broke off and went to the far field and were kind of, tossing up some plays here and there. So, I mean, it was cool to watch by, don't get me wrong. I was very appreciative of having the opportunity to be there. But once they got over to the far field, man, visibility kind of, became a little rough. And, these guys don't have names on the back of their jerseys, so you really have to know who's wearing what numbers if you want to, understand what's going on with each play and that type of deal. And things were happening so fast. So, a lot of people had a lot of questions that me personally, I had a hard time answering because, when they were on the far field, visibility wasn't great. And it was very tough to focus on certain things, just because it was all happening so fast. So for me, I kind of just paid attention to see, how's Carson looking in this situation and kind of take it from there. But I think the big questions is how's the defense? And I know there was one interception caught and, the team, roared, and went a little wild at first with that one. But if you wanted details on that play, it was going to be very difficult to see from our angles of where we were looking.
Gotcha. I definitely hear that the defense likes to chirp a little bit during practice, so you guys have to see that firsthand. Todd, you definitely have a good football eye. Did you what did you notice at the practice? Did you see anything stand out to you? Do you see was the intensity high? It seems like he says it's not. What did you notice during practice, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it was in the 11-11s they did I think 3 portions. The 2 of them were on the far field. So in terms of trying to see details, that was kind of tough. There was some intensity. There was one play where Carson Wentz kind of dumped the ball off to, I think, Gibson, and then whatever defensive player was, you can't really tell who was doing what, but he was about to essentially crush Gibson, obviously, if it wasn't practice, and that got the defensive players pretty excited. The other thing was that, and it's kind of funny, we're not allowed to live tweet this, but I guess we can just talk about it. But a ton of option stuff, a lot of college style option misdirection. I mean, we've seen a decent amount of that, but more. It felt like almost every play was some kind of option where you've got an up back, maybe in the pistol, you've got a halfback behind you, and then you fake it to the up back and then you pitch it, or it's a read option, zone read, all of that. So a lot of option stuff. And then the last thing really is just, I think there is a positive to be taken from Terry McLaurin not being there, and that is that
Dotson.
Jahan Dotson is getting all of those reps. He's getting all of those number 1 wide receiver reps. Whenever Carson is throwing, Dotson is the receiver catching it, in drills and warmups. And then in the 11-on-11s, he was Wentz's main target in those situations.
I heard, actually. I wanted to talk to you about that later on. That's awesome to hear. It's great.
Yeah. So I think that's a positive that, because Terry McLaurin's going to be ready to go, but Dotson's getting that chemistry with Wentz early, and who knows what it'll be ultimately. But it's better to hear that they have some kind of chemistry now than that they don't.
No, I love that, actually. I think that is a great perspective to have. Having McLaurin out gives more time for Dimey Brown and Curtis Samuel, and also Dotson to kind of assimilate with Carson Wentz. Terry McLaurin is definitely a true pro seed. You think he'll come right back in and kind of fit in with the puzzle pretty well. Absolutely. But I did hear that, Todd. That's actually a great perspective. I heard Curtis Samuel was all over the field, and I heard he looked pretty damn good. Rio, did you feel that way? Or how do you feel, Rio?
Yeah, he looked very spry. When me and Jalen called him over to get a picture with him and talk to him a little bit, we asked him how he's feeling, and his words were, "I'm about to turn shit up this year." Okay. It was dope hearing it because you wouldn't expect that. He's not a chill dude at all. He's extra hype, and that was lit. And he looks good. He looks the part. Some of these bunch screens and options and stuff we're running, it excites me. It looks like Scott's reaching into his duffel. I didn't really pay attention to the defense at all. I'll say that's one thing. I I really don't have much for you at all, except for Darian Mathis moves well for his size.
That's good to hear.
Other
Okay.
than that, I watched Carson, Howell, and the skill players the entire time. And when Carson hit Jahan Dotson for what looked to be about 65 yards in stride in team drills behind the corner in the safety, that got everybody's eyebrows perked up because
that's awesome, man. Cool.
The throw, we would have not been allowed to see that throw last year.
It was a great throw.
That's
Bless
awesome.
his heart. Heineke's not making it.
Bless his heart. I love that. Keith, I'm going to ask you about Carson Wentz in a second, but before I get there, Rio, I saw a picture of you sitting next to Curtis Samuel. He's a pretty small guy, huh? Or is he tall, or how'd you feel sitting next to him?
No, just Rio's happens to be extra large.
Yeah.
Pretty big fella, but I mean, standing next to him and Dotson, like Dotson's small.
Dotson's like my size.
He's like 178. He's pretty. He's like, I'm like 50 pounds bigger than that guy for sure.
Short too. Like I'm 6 feet flat. Like with some of these dudes, like it was weird being like the same height or taller than them. But Diami looks swole this year. Like Diami, he's been in the gym with Hakeem Nicks working out in UNC, and all my takeaways. And Cole Turner just looks like an absolute unit, bro.
Ooh, I keep hearing. I'm gonna definitely circle back. Well, let's go with that right now. So Cole Turner, I heard really good things about him. I heard his his catch radius is off the chain. It's the big dude. Did that stand out to you? How'd they look?
Like I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but some guys you just see them and they got the look like okay, he's gonna be nice. Like he's gonna be good. Like I felt like that with like Jordan Reed when he was here too. Except this dude is huge, bro. He looks like freaking Brad Pitt as Achilles or some shit. Like he looks like an absolute monster.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks like a tree, man. He looks like a guy that's gonna eventually have 800 yards and 7+ touchdowns somewhere in his career. I'm excited to see it. He's not a put your hand in the dirt guy, but I'm excited to see Cole Turner. He got me juiced up a little bit the other day.
It's funny how the tight end room was kind of like a deficit last year, and it seems like almost like an advantage or like a surplus of talent this year. We'll see if they actually develop and just kind of come out pretty well. But I was listening to Logan Paulson, and he seems like gleaming about Cole Turner and Curtis Hodges, and just talks about how big they are as tight end options. So I'm definitely glad to hear that. Sounds pretty awesome. But let's pivot a little bit. Obviously, the big question that everyone's looking for, and in my opinion, our whole season relies on our quarterback, right? And I reached out to Keith. He and I talk quite often on Twitter. I said, Keith, how'd it go the other day? Did you enjoy yourself watching practice? We talked about Carson Wentz. Keith, what was your first impressions of him?
I mean, just watching him on the drills, when they were doing the drills and they were doing their, quarterback rotations, throws, it looked like McKissick was paired up with Wentz. So it looks like they were trying to build up a little bit of rapport with those, drills, just, a little minor thing that I, paid attention to. And then, when he was out playing, man, he was throwing dimes. He's definitely throwing the ball down the field and, connecting. So, I want to temper my expectations because this is just, practice. But I think that we may have something that is going to get us a little bit further than we were, last season. I mean, like I said, when these guys aren't in pads and, you don't truly know if they're playing 100% or not, it's very tough to, say, hey, we got a guy, he's going to do it for us. I mean, we're going to make all of our assumptions come week one, after the first game. But so far, so good, man. He's connecting with a lot of guys. I mean, everyone has been talking about, Jahan Dotson and their chemistry. I wonder, if those same targets, would be there if Terry was out there for OTAs. I'm starting to maybe think that Terry not being into OTAs is actually benefiting Jahan, building his confidence as a rookie. Again, trying to get that rapport with this quarterback. I think we're going to be in really good shape. And that's not, a homer or, a rah-rah fan saying that. I mean, if we're going to keep it real, let's keep it real. I think that this team is going to be, just from what I've seen, I think that we're going to be in decent shape this season. We're going to be really surprised.
That's good to hear. I'm really glad to hear from that perspective. And honestly, the Washington offseason, although it was started off slow and then we got into the draft, it unfolded the way that I wanted it to, right? I wanted to surround Carson Wentz with weapons, and I think we have that, right? Having Curtis Samuel healthy is pretty much like another free agent that we added back to the mix. Getting Jahan Dotson adds I think he's a pro-ready slot wide receiver. Could also flex out to the Z if he needs to. And it's having Brian Robinson as a running back as well. He has plenty of options to basically. That's not even talking about Cole Turner and Thomas and all McKissick, all these guys. Like, there's plenty of options on our offense. It's probably, way too early to say, but we on paper, on talent level, probably one of the most well-rounded offenses we've had since probably 2016. So I'm really excited to kind of see that unfold. 1 second before I throw it over to Todd. Keith, you have an interesting perspective being like a husband of an Eagles fan. Sorry about that. Freudian.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. Well, let's be honest here. My wife does wear the pants, so I might as well be the wife.
It's my bad. It's all good.
He makes all the decisions. I just
there you go. So
going
into
man, Keith got the freshly dyed beard. I see you with the
it's starting to come back again.
Stop it. That's natural because over here is the grays. I let it fade out because I knew y'all would be clowning me at the OTAs. So
it's all good, man. We get it. Like I get a little Beijing sometime. Put in mine, so it's all good.
All right. Well, before I die, I'm gonna come after you, young ass adults. When you have to start using just for men too. But go ahead, George. Go ahead.
Just to finish it off, I swear. I don't know if I ever remember asking you this. How did you feel about Carson Wentz coming over anyway? Like from the Eagles' perspective, come over to Washington, and has your mind changed after like practice so far?
Yeah, no, me personally, I knew it wasn't going to happen, but as every offseason as fans, when we're doing our podcast, or even on Twitter, we're constantly talking about the quarterback position because it's never been solidified with us, right? So last season, I knew that there was going to be no chance that Carson was coming. We all knew Carson wasn't, coming to our squad, so he wasn't there. But I had kind of defended the fact that I wouldn't hate the idea if he did, because not that I'm a quarterback guru and understand the entire mechanics of what it's like to be a quarterback, but being that my wife's an Eagles fan, I was stuck watching those games too. And, besides the two that he played us, and there was something about him that I liked, man. I liked his size. I liked that, he could throw the ball down the field. I really loved how a big dude like him could escape from, broken pockets. He was really good at it, except for against Kerrigan. But I mean, he was really good at that. So, he had those tangibles that I was like, man, he could be decent here, if an opportunity came. So when this season, when it came out of nowhere, like me, I kept my excitement because you never know how a guy's going to be, with each team. Because of course, these teams are running different schemes, have different ideas of, what they want out of their quarterback. So for me, I dumbed down the excitement, but I was actually, if you couldn't ring in the big three as we talked this offseason, I mean, we knew that wasn't going to happen. I was actually very happy with this decision. I'm not going to go out running buying a jersey yet, with his name on the back, but I'm happy about the idea. And let me tell you, I listen to a lot of Eagles radio here just because it's entertaining. Plus, I'd like to have an idea of, how the fans here. Yeah, because I live here. I want, get the intel on how their fans feel. Man, I'm telling you, they're split. They're split on their current situation.
I agree.
I think they're a little jealous that we've got the guy that they've liked this entire time. So, we'll just wait and see how it plays out when the season starts.
One of my close friends, Joe Castro, he runs Philly, the podcast. I don't know if you guys ever worked with him before. He's a real cool dude. He always have honest conversations. He's optimistic for Hurts, but he honestly has told me that Carson Wentz has a higher upside as a true quarterback. So it is, and he's an Eagles fan too. So we definitely see the potential there. Had a comment in the chat. Some fans forget that Carson used to tear us apart with ease. The talent is there. He's to crush us. And I honestly think that he has the physical talent. The biggest thing with him is going to be, is his mental game there? Is he going to be, is he going to take coaching well? Is he going to understand our offense pretty well? So we'll see how that goes.
He has to learn to live and accept losing a down. He's I love the gamer in him, but he's so balls to the wall that he acts like every play is the last play of the game.
Yeah.
And it's to his detriment sometimes. That's how he ends up throwing left-handed picks and taking 20-yard sacks. Or like he has to learn to just say, you know what, I'm gonna take this sack. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna throw this out of bounds. Like just accept it. Like,
No, I feel you. He always plays hero ball. He doesn't take the check down, doesn't take what the defense gives him. Hopefully, with this being maybe his last hurrah as a starting quarterback, he was going to be more receptive to Scott Turner. Maybe kind of they'll work together well. Let's kind of close up the Carson Wentz conversation with Todd. 6'5", 240. He's a big boy. What was your first impressions of Carson Wentz?
Yeah, I think the first play on 11-on-11s was like a 25, 30-yard crossing route all the way across the field to Dotson right along the sideline, like a big boy throw. I mean, outside the numbers along the sideline, didn't see a lot of throws like that were actually put there because it was, he wasn't wide open. He had someone on his tail, but it got there. So, I mean, first impression is just that he's got something that we haven't seen here in Washington really since, I mean, Kirk Cousins would be the closest. He's not he's not viewed as a strong arm, but he's not, but Alex Smith, 2018 wasn't great. And then you had 2019, and then Alex Smith again was kind of like a Heineke in terms of arm strength. Game manager. And then just in terms of physical, tall, big, can move. And but seems also more slender than he's been in the past. Okay. When you look at him physically, he seems like he's kind of lean. Yeah, he's lean. Lean is the perfect word. He's definitely lean. I think you kind of see it in his face some too. So, I mean, you had the first rep of OTAs. The first one was that one across sidelines. I think the third or fourth one was the big one downfield to Dotson. Obviously, it's not all been perfect. There have been picks, and there will be. But
was he accurate, Todd? Did he come off accurate to you?
He did come off as accurate. Yeah, he did. And going, when they line up and they kind of throw two at a time, you could see a difference in terms of that sort of thing with him and Heineke. Like, I'm not making a big deal out of it, but there was some level of difference, which there should be.
Yeah,
a first or second overall pick and an undrafted guy. So there was a difference, and there will be a difference this year for sure.
Nice. Okay, I'm definitely interested in seeing that. So I'm going to pivot over to Rio. So person that I'm really interested in, we invested a lot with him, Jahan Dotson, number 16th overall pick. I heard he's been eaten up at OTAs. That's what everyone's kind of saying. Did he stand out to you? How do you look?
He like, if you were there, you did not miss number one at all at any point. And just to close out the Carson Wentz thing, that's a humble dude, man. When he came and spoke to all of us, like I told him, I was like, Carson, we haven't had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns in my lifetime.
Good drop. I love that. Good job, Rio.
And like, I need it. And he just was like, he smiled and he was just like, I'm gonna give y'all my best, man. And
that's good.
And that's it. Like, there was nothing else to it. That was cool. It was a cool exchange, though. Like,
I'm real. Sorry, I'm rooting for the dude, man. I feel like he kind of has gotten a bad rap in the media, especially with Indianapolis, and for the most part, Sugar Daddy's saying, "What's up, Rio?" Basically, he just seems like a good. He seems like a good dude. Like, he seems like a really religious guy, humble guy. He wants to do well, and there really isn't any reason to kind of undercut him. I hope he's successful. But sorry to cut you off, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Jahan Dotson, yeah, man, he looks the part. He gets in and out of his breaks fast. He has sponges for hands, and that's not even like to exaggerate. Like, he catches everything, and he doesn't body catch anything. Love my guy Terry. Terry body catches. He does.
That's honest assessment. I agree with that.
He's an elite body catcher, but Jahan is grabbing everything out of the air. He attacks the ball in the air. He doesn't wait for the ball to come to him. He stood out to me. Curtis Samuel stood out to me, and for a guy that I'm usually low on, I mean, Kelvin Harmon flashed a couple times too.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm always shitting on Kelvin Harmon, but he looked fine, man. It was interesting seeing AGG in the tight end room. He looked so small compared to those trees in that room. Yeah. But like, my biggest regret of this OTA is that I did not pay attention at all to the defense. Like, I wish I watched the defense more. I was watching the backs. Brian Robinson, he just looks like he was built to be an NFL starting running back.
I'm excited about him, actually. I'm pumped about him.
And Gibson looked good, though. Gibson looked in control. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter when you don't have pads on. No one's trying to knock the ball out your hand. But the backs look – we should have an explosive offense. If our offense isn't explosive this year, I don't know if we're ever going to see one.
That's true.
We got all the pieces, bro.
We do have all the pieces. So let's kind of pivot a little bit. We don't have to deep dive on the defense. I was just kind of curious about a couple players. Let me guess. I'll throw it to Keith, and if Keith you don't got it, maybe Rio and Todd can jump in. Chase Young, did you happen to see him on the field? Like I know he was kind of like kind of controversial. He wasn't there the first couple of days. Do you guys even care that the fact that he wasn't there the first couple of days? How do you guys feel about that before we get to even seeing him?
I'll answer that. No.
Okay.
To me, I feel like OTAs, especially this one, if it's not mandatory, to me, I think it's highly overrated that people think that these guys should be there. I mean, they're practicing 2 hours, maybe 2.5, in there. And I really think that the guys, could he have been there his rookie year and we wouldn't have, gone through all that nonsense? Sure. Because I do think that the young guys can get something out of this, but these seasoned veteran guys, I don't think it's a necessary thing. And I think it's highly overrated that there's expectations that they should be there because they're leaders. But obviously mandatory for sure. They should be there. But no, when I was there, Chase was on one of the other fields with the other guys who were kind of rehabbing, recovering from their injuries, working with their own, trainers. Each guy had their own trainer. So they were kind of, off doing their own thing. Was it nice to see him out there? Yeah, but the day that we were there, there was no, benefit of him being there. He literally walked right back into the building once he was done. So I'm not sure what people need. Now, the reports from today's OTAs is he was out there and he was a vocal leader. So I can understand why people say, yeah, you should be, they should be there and that type of deal.
Like potential chemistry or something. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Because I mean, he was out there doing what leaders do. He was cheering on his teammates. So I get the argument. I just don't think that it's as crucial as people think it should be.
Gotcha. I guess, yeah, we so he's basically working down on the side field, wasn't really doing too much, it sounds like. Todd, did you have a chance to catch the defense? Because clearly Rio did not.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to catch the defense either myself.
Okay,
it was kind of harder to keep track of because on offense, you kind of know, you could see, but they were on the far field defensively. It was tough to see what was really going on. So no, I didn't really catch much of the defense, but I will say one thing I forgot to say on Carson Wentz, which kind of does apply to the defense as well, was Carson was holding onto the ball, which, is a good thing and a bad thing, but it's just who he is. But you saw the defense kind of getting there in some of those situations. So, I think that's my main takeaway from the defense really is, other than that, not much.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. Cool. Let's start kind of winding it down a little bit because we have maybe 5-10 minutes left. Rio, what other players stood out to you, man? Obviously, Carson Wentz is on everyone's radar. Jahan Dotson stood out. Did you keep an eye on for like Brian Robinson, Phil Mathis? Like, how they look? Was there anyone else that stood out to you? What you got, man?
The two Bama rookies definitely stood out to me. For Darian Mathis, like I was telling you, he moves really well for his size. Brian Robinson, the dude is huge, man. Like the dude looks like a beast, like old school middle linebacker in uniform, but he's nimble, he moves well, he moves pretty fluid. I think JD McKissick, I swear the number change makes him look shiftier. When you go from wearing 41 to 23, he looks shiftier, man.
41's a rough number to wear, by the way. No one wears a 41. Come on now.
It's like a backup defensive back number.
Exactly right. Like a deep safety is a 41.
I'm not a fan of that number, but he stood out. Oh, Cole Holcomb leading the defense. That's something that stood out to me.
Okay.
Like he's the guy on the defensive side of the ball, and he looks like he's leaning into this, I'm going to be the bike guy. He's flying around. You see him making calls and stuff, and that dude's yoked, man, and his visor game is fire. Like, Cole Holcomb stood out to me. So that's all I got other than the players.
Cool. All right. Tyler, what about you, bro? Who stood out to you?
Yeah, so on AGG, so a couple of things. He looked small compared to the tight ends, right? I mean, AGG's with the wide receivers, he's the biggest one. With the tight ends, he's clearly the smallest one. But he also was clearly faster than the other tight ends. First of all, John Bates, it's kind of funny because he's slow. I mean, we know he's slow, but just running in the open field, he is slow. Cole Turner comes out and he's a little faster, but then AGG is clearly the fastest of the group. So I think if he's going to stake his claim, it'll have to do something with his speed because he is smaller for sure. Dotson fielding punts, I think he's going to be your punt returner, at least day one early on to start. Brian Robinson, the running backs were doing a drill right in front of us with the they kind of had the things on the ground. They're kind of going over a footwork drill, or foot quickness drill. And he was he looked like he almost did it better than Antonio Gibson did. And Rio, you were there with me. Kind of
Rio's eyes lighting up over there. Okay, I see Rio. Okay,
right. And then Cole Turner kind of, again, just compared to Bates, again, just the speed, because Cole Turner is not a fast guy. He's a 4.7 guy, but there's a big difference. So Cole Turner would be your tight end one, because I'm strongly under the assumption that Logan Thomas is not going to be ready week one.
I've been hearing things like that too, actually.
And it just, it makes sense. So but Cole Turner's definitely got an edge there in terms of speed over John Bates. I think those are the main things. I did want to say one thing on Dotson, though, in terms of catching the ball, because you really shouldn't take much away from OTAs, right? And OTA practice. But when it comes to catching the ball, like Rio was talking about, there was one. It wasn't even a play or even a rep. I think it was Wentz just threw him the ball down the field, and though he wasn't wearing gloves or anything, he just caught it the way he caught it. It was just the most natural, thoughtless catch of a football. I mean, it was like, it was just it looked so natural, like no thought, just kind of grab it and just. So that stood out to me, that one little thing where it's not just an observation with no basis. We know he's good at catching the ball, but then when you watch him do it, you say, like, it just looks like he's not putting any thought into it, no effort. It just comes so naturally for him. So I think that's my last takeaway.
Gotcha. What about you, Keith? Who stood out to you?
So we kind of covered what stood out. What stood out to me is looking at Randy Jordan's drills with the running backs and how different they are. Also that because they're challenging these running backs within the drill itself too. So it was really cool to see. But also at the same time, you can see that these guys are new to this and they're not quite in sync with the drills that we've got going. But these guys really leaning on their knee, standing up with the quickness, their bars, just to get to the other side to try to another. It's these drills are creating competition within, so I did, like seeing that. It wasn't like your typical where you're watching the QBs and they're just to the guy who they're supposed to. Randy Jordan was pretty intense out there too. F-bombs flying. He Olympics as the underwear Olympics. He was treating these guys. Yeah, he was treating these guys. This is a legit practice, and we're going in on Sunday to play, whatever team. So I did like that. That's awesome, and then the other thing, which you guys kind of based on it, was Carson's, actual size when you're there in person. But then also looking at Jahan, he looks like a kid, man. And here I am standing in my hog farmer gear as a 43-year-old man, having a quick conversation with this young kid. It felt weird to me, but the dude's skill set, but you look at him and he literally looks like he's 18 years old, but he obviously has a grown man skill set. So it was just kind of eye-opening to me, in the sense of how athletic these guys are, with this, with their size and just you don't have to be big to be good type of deal. And it was like a refresher of what you don't really get to see on an everyday basis.
That's awesome.
Can I add one thing too, George?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Last thing on Dotson. He's faster than a 4.43 guy. He's a 4.3 guy just in the way he runs and the way he can just kind of take off. We saw it on that one big play, but he's faster than 4.43 in my opinion, at least.
There you go. So he just looked quick out there in your opinion.
Yeah, that or he's a 4.43 guy, but when he puts the pads on, he's like a 4.46 guy. As opposed to other guys who may lose a bit more time, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he to me, he looks like he gets off the ball quicker than Terry. The way he gets out of his route, like when the ball is snapped, it's electric, man.
So do you guys think he's going to be an early contributor in the season? They think starting game one?
Yeah,
absolutely. Putting some work?
Okay, absolutely.
He's in the plans for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. They're not working him in. He is Terry McLaurin right now. As long as Terry McLaurin's not there, he is Terry McLaurin.
And he's taking it. And when Terry gets here, he's going to be on the opposite end, opposite Terry. He's going to be on the field.
Yeah, I do feel some defenses are going to have to make some decisions on who they're going to actually double team this season because he showed it, in OTA. So I'm excited to see when he puts on the full pads, what he can do. But he definitely possessed more than what this might be a terrible comparison, but I think he possessed a little bit more just in these practices than what, Diami Brown was able to contribute last season.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Sugar Daddy in the chat said Bama guys coming ready. That's why Nick Saban is a little bit ornery these days, a little bit angry. I definitely see that for sure. For sure, man.
That's my guy. He's a Cowboys fan. That's
I can tell by the Abby right there. I can see he's good people though. Seems like, all right, what's up, Sugar Daddy? It's cool. All right, let's bring it home on this. I'm gonna give you guys an option on the question. We're going one little roundabout table will be done, right? Either A, tell me about like a funny experience you had with a player, it's kind of a funny exchange or some comments you had with them. You can go that route. Or B, stamp a player that you want to put your name on it going into the next season. So we'll start off with Rio. What do you got, bro?
I'm stamping that Carson Wentz is actually going to be a good quarterback here. I'm putting everything on it, bro. I believe in this. I believe too. You've been seeing it in person. Well, go ahead, man. Like people get really forgetful of Carson Wentz's game because, like we were talking about in our group chat earlier, he's such an enigma because, like, this guy's only thrown double-digit picks twice. Like he's usually he throws like 7 picks a year. Like that's the number that he always somehow hits.
27 and 7. Mm-hmm.
And we've actually seen him be great at one point. Yes, that was years ago and before a bunch of injuries. But I remember 2019, and I remember him having a bunch of like insurance salesman receivers. And I remember putting them on his back and getting them to the playoffs. And if it wasn't from a dirty hit for Jadeveon Clowney, I think he would have beat them in that playoff game that year. But he gets a bad rap. I understand the critiques about him because sometimes he just does senseless things on the field. I think Carson is going to get us that 30 touchdowns season for quarterback, and we're going to the postseason this year.
All right, Rio's team Carson. I'm not mad at him, man. I kind of rooting for him too. I can see the potential there.
Commander Wentz, baby.
Commander Wentz. All right, Ty, what's up, man? Funny comment or stamping the play? Which one are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't have any great funny comments. I asked Curtis Samuel how he feels about playing with the Penn State receiver, and he said he doesn't care. So I guess that's good. But I'm gonna stamp Brian Robinson.
Okay.
He is a running back through and through. He's not converting, and also he's an Alabama running back, which means that his floor is like solid. You know what I mean? And then I'm a fan of Gibson, but I'm not sure that he is meant to be every down guy. So I think that because of the experience Robinson has, because of the build, because the way they're built is they're similar weights, but their builds are different for sure. Gibson and Robinson. I think Brian Robinson may end up being your more productive running back on the team this year in terms of rushing over Antonio Gibson.
The only critique I'll have on Robinson, I'm not sure if you guys caught it yet, but you guys are pretty savvy. You guys probably see it. He runs high. He runs chest high, so he's going to be a big target to hit. So that might be something I'm keeping an eye on going forward.
That Eddie George running style.
He does. Yeah. All right, Keith, what about you, man? Who you stamping? Any funny comments? You always, bust chops. What's going on over there?
Yeah, speaking of always busting chops, man, I'm probably gonna calm down on that because, bro, as soon as Ron Rivera walked up, and if you ever wanted to see a grown man's knees just literally chatter and you not know really what to say, I was that guy. Well, I'm not an autograph dude, man, and a lot of it has to do with because I don't want to feel like a fanboy when I do it. And I'm not saying other people are fanboys, but when you're dressed up in the hog farmer gear and so on and so on, there's a lot of people that can, say what they want to say. So it was just me kind of being comfortable with, wearing the gear for the first time, talking to people in the gear and not, feeling, crazy about it. But talking to Ron Rivera, it was kind of a weird ask to have him sign that certificate because, that situation that we did on Twitter was 2 years ago, right? Where we raised over $5,000. So I kind of had to rehash that story with him, but I didn't want to be like, like I am now where I talk too much. I wanted to keep it short and quick, but I wanted to reiterate to him that this was something that I organized, but it was the whole Twitter community that came together to, raise 4K. I was able to tell him that I lost my dad, just like his brother, to the same, disease. But I'm having him sign a certificate that says Keith Gray and, this and that. And so it was just a little strange to me. But he was super friendly and nice. But if you ever wanted to see a grown man, I talk a lot of trash on Twitter, but you put me into a situation like that, and I was goofy, man. I felt goofy, and it kind of brought a different perspective of maybe you're not as cool as you think you are, buddy. Calm down. So, but it was a cool experience. And as far as stamping, I'm with Rio, man. I'm stamping on Wentz. I'm all in, man. I'm all in. Cool. I listen, how could we not be? Taylor Heineke was our guy last season. And look at what we got with a tough schedule. Kind of supposedly have an easier schedule. Quarterback. We got a guy that can toss the ball down the field. Clearly in OTAs, he's doing a great job. Rookies involved. I think that we have a lot to be excited for, but I also want to, temper my expectations as well, because anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely looking forward to watching Wentz. Keith, I'm glad you had experience with that certificate, man. I just want to vouch for Keith in general. Keith's good people. I met him on numerous occasions. He has a kind of that funny persona on Twitter, but he's a good guy altogether. You can kind of hear the sentimental values that he has. He's kind of talking about his dad and things like that. So Keith's good people. And that goes for Todd and Rio too, man. I'm glad I got to know you guys over the past couple of years. So, so thank you for definitely spending your time. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, it was really cool. Like, seeing the content creators there, I was breaking away from the hog farmers, able to walk over to these guys, and just say what's up and spend a few minutes, talking with them and hanging out with them, man. This experience has just been absolutely wild. And, these guys embrace me. I mean, Tay and Todd, I don't just everyone, man, they all just kind of embrace me, and they're like, hey, you're the old guy, but you're cool with us, so I'm cool.
You're not the old guy, man. Don't worry about that. You're all
Keith
good.
Keith was trying to run pickup out there, man. We better run some pickup football.
QB, Keith.
I did yell out saying that a couple of them had stiff hips, but I didn't get any response back.
That's funny, man. So let's kind of wrap it up. So thank you, gentlemen. I know you guys we're all working professionals, and time is precious. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Let's kind of wrap it up. We'll talk about, drop your socials, what projects you're working on. We'll start off with Rio, man. So where can they find you? What are you working on right now, bro?
All right. You can find me on the Rio Robinson, Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, at Rio_Robinson91, as you can see here on the nameplate. And tonight, me, Tay, Todd, Jalen, and my boy Zach and my boy Alex, we're going to be doing a live stream at 7:30 on the channel, where we're going to go game by game and make a pick and do our record predictions for the season and give some analysis, make some jokes, cut up a little bit, have a good time, man, before these NBA finals come on tonight. So that's what I'm up to. Follow me on all socials at Rio_Robinson91. And yeah, man, if you see me at a game, you see me at camp, you see me at an event, come holler at me, man. I'm cool peoples, man. It's always a good time.
Good stuff. All right, Todd, what about you, bro?
At Tay and Todd Podcast on Twitter and Tay and Todd Podcast on YouTube. Get back to doing some breakdown stuff, continuing looking at Carson Wentz season, sort of things we can expect on there, and then some other stuff. So check out the YouTube. We post our videos, we go live, but then we also do some breakdowns and stuff. And then I still listen to podcasts more than I watch them. So our stuff is still on Spotify, it's on Apple Music and all those platforms for you to listen to as well.
Cool. All right, Keith, what about you, bro? Thanks, Todd.
Man, the only thing I have going on moving forward is June 11th. We Hog Farmers have the golf tournament to raise money. A lot of the stuff that we got autographed at OTAs actually is going to this event for a raffle. And then we gave one of the balls to one of the patients or one of our kids that isn't doing so well right now. Who is becoming a big, Carson Wentz fan. He signed the ball, Be Like Bob, which is the partner of who we're partnering with for this charity. So that was super cool. So we're going to just be out there raising money, watching people golf and doing some raffles. And, like Rio said, man, after that, camp's coming up. So hopefully we can get out there. All of us get together again and just enjoy some football, man. That's what it's all
100%,
about.
Man.
100%. We're all gonna get heat stroke at camp.
100%. 100%. It's so hot out there.
Hey, listen, and I've been talking to Chris. I'm like, yo, we need to get some summer gear. I don't care if I've got to wear Daisy Duke overalls.
That'd be hilarious.
Listen, if you guys got to see the white thighs, I got to break it out because I don't know if I can sweat like that.
I don't know if you know, it's for men, it's thigh season, man. Bro, get your little shorts out. Get them ready for the summer, bro. We showing up to Ashburn or
look
Richmond.
at that boy. Look at them thighs.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's amazing.
We're coming with the
Sorry,
hoochie
George.
shorts.
Yeah, it's like too hot for TV right now. It's getting hot out here, man. Wow.
Hot boy summer.
Hot boy summer. All right, I'm gonna bring it on home. So, guys, I'm at Carmi21. Thank you for listening today. Guys, definitely like, subscribe, and comment on my podcast. I'm new to the game. I'm only 20 episodes in, so I'm trying to build this thing up. So, thank you for jumping on. Have a great night, everybody. Catch you all later. Peace.
Hell.